Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Amy, and in this video I'm going to be making over this kind of beat up coffee table we got for free from a friend and repainting it to better go with the rest of the living room. Some of you may know I've been trying to spruce up my living room a bit, and this was one of the last things I needed to do, and I didn't want it to look like I just slapped some paint on it. I really wanted it to look like a nice smooth finish on the top without any brush strokes, almost like it was sprayed on but without using a paint sprayer. So if you find painting furniture daunting because of brush strokes and all that, I'll show you some tips and tricks that I learned to have that professional looking finish. First thing I did was take it outside and start sanding down some of that finish. I wasn't trying to take it off completely, but rough it up enough for the paint to adhere. And according to the paint I'll be using, it says no sanding or priming needed, but I was also trying to get rid of some of the dents and gouges the coffee table had because it had a bunch of them all over. And once I was done with that, I took some spackling to try and fill in some of those dents and gouges in the wood. I wasn't trying to get all of them, there was just too many, but I was mainly focusing on getting the top smooth. Then once that was dry, going and sanding that down again so it was smooth and cleaning it off to get ready for paint. So when I was looking into the best way to paint furniture and the best paint to use, I came across Black Sheep House. She paints furniture for a living, I believe, and she recommended this Valspar cabinet and furniture paint. It's oil infused, and she said it was very scratch resistant, which is what I will need for a heavily used coffee table. I raised the coffee table just with water bottle caps. It wasn't the sturdiest, but it worked, and cardboard underneath so no debris would get stuck on my brush. And since the bottom half was already once painted and had brush strokes, I wasn't too worried about trying to hide that, so I just painted that like you would anything else and used a brush. I was not a fan of the two-tone look, and I really went back and forth with what to paint this table. I didn't want it to clash with the other furniture in my living room. I have an antique side table that we refinished, and then a blue-green cabinet, and I also have a black rug. So I ended up going with Sherwin-Williams Alabaster. It's the color my fireplace is painted, and I also thought it would be a good contrast against the rug. For the top, I did things a little bit different because, like I already mentioned, I did not want brush strokes. I wanted it to look nice and smooth, so I started off with my same brush, painting around the edges first. And then I took a dry foam roller and went over where I used a brush, and it has to be dry because what it's doing is it's taking off the excess paint, smoothing down those lines you get with a brush, and making it very smooth. Again, this is what Black Sheep House recommended doing, and since she does this for a living, I feel like I trust what she says. That being said, when I did my final coat, I did change one little thing that worked better for me, and I'll share that in a second. After I got all the sides done, I started at the top just brushing the paint on and going over it with the foam roller, which the one I'm using, by the way, is Whizz foam roller. You can find it at Lowe's. But the problem I noticed with my particular piece of furniture was that I had such a large surface area I was trying to do, and I found myself rushing trying to get the paint brushed on and then going over it with a roller and having certain spots starting to dry before I could get the whole thing rolled. And also, it was difficult getting an even amount of paint on the table with the brush because I was moving so fast, and honestly, it was just kind of stressful doing it this way. When I was doing the second coat, I had to ask my boyfriend to come out and help me, and he brushed it on while I rolled it because I just couldn't do it fast enough when I was by myself. You know, if you had a smaller piece of furniture, this probably wouldn't be an issue, but for me and this piece, it was not working. So for the final coat, I brought it inside, that way no debris from trees or whatever else floats around outside, bird poop or something, falls on my final coat and ruins it. I did very lightly sand the top just to make sure it was perfectly smooth. The bottom half only needed 2 coats, but decided to do 3 coats on the top. This time, instead of using a paint brush, I used a paint roller, and it doesn't have to be a foam one either, any kind will work. This is one I just had in my basement because you're still going to go over it with a dry foam roller, getting rid of the excess paint and smoothing it out. I found doing it this way was not only faster, but I was able to spread the paint out more evenly, and it gave it a better end result overall. When going over the paint with the dry foam roller, I used quite a bit of pressure at first and went in different directions, just making sure the paint was spread nice and evenly. And sometimes you might see bubbles pop up. That can mean you might have too much paint. You could always find cardboard or something and roll off the excess. But as I went, my pressure was getting lighter and lighter, and any bubbles went away. And at the end, I was making sure I was doing straight lines up and down in one direction, going across the entire table length, and not really applying any pressure at this point, just letting the roller kind of move over the paint very lightly. Afterwards, the end result is a very smooth finish, as close as a sprayed on finish as you can get, and I am going to test the durability of this paint without a polyurethane or any sort of top coat to see how it holds up on its own, because it is supposed to be a very durable paint, but if it starts to get chippy or anything like that, I'll just mix half paint, half matte polyurethane and go over it again. And I can let you guys know either in a future video or in the comments how it ends up holding up. But as of right now, I'm really happy with the finish. My dining room table needs repainted, and this is the technique I will be using, minus using a brush on the top. I'm just going to stick with a roller. It just worked a lot better in my opinion. And now my living room is one step closer to being finished. I like that it matches the fireplace and doesn't clash with my other furniture, and I do like the contrast against the black rug. Let me know what you guys think. Do you like the color? Do you not like the color? I like to know your guys' opinions. Make sure to check out Black Sheep House. She does really good furniture flips over there, so I'll link her channel in the description. But thanks for watching this video, and I will see you next time. Bye.